taking the time to join our May advocacy meeting today. We have a great meeting in store with an organization who most of you all are probably familiar with, and if not, you will be after today. Special Olympics is going to give a great presentation today. We partner with them on many things, and we're going to work with them more in the future. But as I said, hopefully you all being involved in the intellectual and developmental disability community, hopefully you've heard of this great organization that through sports and many different events and so many cool things, they have given self-advocates a different kind of voice and given them a different kind of confidence. And so I love and I'm a strong advocate of Special Olympics Florida. And so I'm going to simply introduce our awesome presenters today, and I'm going to let them take away the meeting. Housekeeping items, as always. I will make sure that we're all muted during the presentation and being respectful to our presenters, as well as we will make sure that we have about 10 to 15 minutes to cover questions at the end of our presentation. So I, as the host, will make sure that I monitor the chat, and I will make sure that I go in order and make sure that I try to answer every question, or I try to make sure that we have every question answered. Within our hour and make sure time allows. So we appreciate you all again for being here. Thank you so much. And I'm going to introduce our presenters. So today we have Damien McNeil, who is the regional director for the Northwest and Northeast regions of Special Olympics Florida. Damien began his work with the program as a volunteer in 2012, and he was hired by the organization in 2014. Damien has served in his current role since 2018, supporting the Panhandle and more recently, all of North Florida. We also have with us today Laura Jones, and Laura Jones joined Special Olympics Florida in 2025 as the Community Engagement Manager for Area 2. She supports 8 counties in Northwest Florida in athlete leadership programming and development, corporate and volunteer management, marketing, and event coordination and management. So we appreciate so much Laura and Damien for being here today. Laura actually lives up here in Tallahassee, so she's close to us, and we look forward to partnering with them in the future. So you all take it away, and thank you so much again.
Awesome. Well, first, I just want to say thank you all so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate you all coming on, listening to us, and giving the opportunity to share Special Olympics Florida with you. So the mission, I'm not going to read all of this for you, but what I do want you to take away is just why we exist, right? So the mission is why we exist, why we do what we do. We do what we do so that we can support inclusion, we can help people feel respected, and we can help the ID population experience joy through a multitude of opportunities. Our chosen vehicle is sports. One of the reasons is because of all the great benefits that sports brings. So we use sports as the vehicle for all of the opportunities that we can provide. We can't talk about Special Olympics without talking about Eunice Kennedy Shriver. So Eunice Kennedy Shriver was the founder of Special Olympics. She founded it in 1968. The reason she founded it was her older sister Rosemary had an intellectual disability, and she decided that she was going to make sure that she was included in the community. So she found an opportunity for her by hosting sports in her backyard. Now, her backyard's a lot bigger than mine, so she had thousands of athletes in it. But she had that first one back in 1968, Soldier Field, and she invited tons of other programs to come to that first one. Now we have over 4 million participants. One of the cool things is Florida was the second state program ever. So you had Illinois, where she started it, and then you had Okaloosa County, Florida, with the second one. They had 12 participants start over in Okaloosa County at Silver Sands School. And one of those participants is actually still participating today. So she started when she was in middle school, and she's now in her 70s, still participating with us. She bowls and she swims with us. I took her to state games a few years back, and it was really cool to see her double gold there again for probably the 50th time. But really, really cool efforts. So the goals of Special Olympics. So this is a continuation of our mission, but the goals, right? Respect. We want to help this population, the ID population, as we all do. Everybody on this call wants to support Special Olympics athletes and the further ID population experience respect, gain respect. we provide fair opportunities for sports and for life within Special Olympics Florida. So that's really, really important to what we do because we know that this population is generally excluded from many facets of life. Skill and talent development. Through sport, we think that we have a unique opportunity to help with skill and talent development, but not just the development, but also the showcasing of skills and talents. So whereas maybe we get the opportunity to develop and have these skills outside of sports and outside of Special Olympics, this population, it's hard for them to be able to showcase those opportunities in all the same ways. So skill and talent development and the showcasing of those skills and talents through competition. When I think of Special Olympics, I think of building bridges. I think something that we do, and the ARC does, I think as well, something that we do extremely well as we build bridges between this population and the community at large. We know that in many ways they are underrepresented in healthcare opportunities. They don't have the same opportunities to healthcare to other communities. So we try to do everything that we can to find ways to get this population to engage with the community at large. So how do we do it? The first one's pretty obvious through sports, right? We have opportunities that are year round through sports. So we have trainings that are happening in every community throughout the entire year in Florida. Florida, we have such a strong program here in the state of Florida that you can go just about into every county and we're going to have something for everybody. So through training, number one, just that year round, keeping them engaged, keeping them active, that year round training is so key. Second, through competitions. So we have hundreds of competitions throughout the state of Florida every single year. We'll get into it in just a moment, but we also offer 26 sports across the state of Florida. So in Florida, we have 26 sports that we offer. Not every single one's offered in every single community, but we do have something for everybody. Our health programming when I think about Special Olympics also and building those bridges, and I think about the vehicles that we use, the vehicle of sports, I think maybe the most important thing that we are able to offer is healthcare screenings. So Special Olympics worldwide is the number one provider of health screenings for people with disabilities. So we offer just an absolute ton of health screenings and making sure that this population is supported further, not just through the sports, but also through these other opportunities. And then the last thing, I'm not going to harp on this too much because Laura is going to get to this later in the presentation, but through our leadership programs too, it's so key to what we do. These are the sports we offer. This is a very wordy page, and I apologize for that. But these are all of the sports that we offer across the state of Florida. And you might be looking at a couple of them and thinking, "How's that possible?" Right? Snowboarding, alpine skiing. We do have those in the state of Florida. They are offered down in South Florida. We used to have alpine skiing in the Panhandle, and they would go skiing off of the dunes, which was kind of cool. But that's how they would practice, and then they'd go up to North Carolina to compete. So these are all the sports that we offer. Triathlon is kind of a new one. Cornhole, we've added some other sports, most recently cornhole and pickleball for our aging athletes. So as Special Olympics, we've recently hit our 50th year of continuous programming in the state of Florida. We've had to adapt our programming to the aging population too. So I'm sure those are considerations that the ARC is having to think about as majority or a bulk of our population gets older. So what makes Special Olympics unique? These are the five kind of general ways that we're very unique and in the things that we provide. So first, Special Olympics programming is free to everybody, athletes, their families, volunteers, coaches. It's free to anybody to come and participate. That is so important because we know that socioeconomically, a lot of our participants wouldn't be able to participate if there was a cost to our program. So we're trying to reduce and get rid of any barrier that might be in the way. Second, we're open to all abilities. We'll get into some of our programming later that kind of highlights what that looks like and how we can actually be open to all abilities, but we are open to all ability levels. So that's really, really important, especially with this population. Divisioning. It's important to us to create equitable competition so that everybody has a fair chance to win, be included, and succeed. So we create divisioning based on skills and like skills or like abilities. Competitions and awards. So it is true that everybody who comes and participates at a Special Olympics activity will leave with some kind of award. It's also true that we are a very competitive organization. And if you come and experience any of our competitions or opportunities, you're going to see that really at a high level. So it is important that we maintain the competitiveness, but we also maintain the ability to appreciate and respect everybody. One of the really cool things that we're able to do is offer advancement to higher levels. With the advancement we have from our local competitions to our state competitions, which we'll see next week in Central Florida. And next month, we also have our USA games. So some athletes have already been selected and they'll be advancing to our USA games. Next year, we'll be sending some athletes from the state of Florida to Santiago, Chile to go compete at the World Games. And so that continues all the way through. And again, it goes back to that divisioning and the equitable competition. Everybody has a fair chance to advance all the way through. So those are the things that really make us unique. Here's a map of all of the programs that we have across the state. Some years ago, we went through that reorganization where we were at the county level and we had county competitions. And we were finding that in some communities, we were lacking some of that competition. So in some of our very rural communities, they might not see equitable competition until they got to our state level. So it was important that we regionalized. We called it regionalization. So we found ways to find more equitable competition and ways to create better quality experiences across the entire state. So this is what our map looks like now. We have 5 regions, so 5 regional competitions for every single sport that we offer. And we have 8 different areas across the state. And this, you can go on our website. You can see it. It's a very interactive map. So you can click on any of these regions. You see that website at the bottom, just sofl.org. You can find all of this on there and you can find your local programming so that you can get started with your ARC or with your individual, whoever it might be. We talked a bit about the health screenings that we offer. So we're up to 8 different screenings that we offer. That's really key because we want to support the whole athlete all the way through. One of the really cool ones, and we have a lot of these screenings in the Panhandle, which I absolutely love. Of course, we have them across the state also, but is our strong mind screening. So it's helping cope with stress, helping them find ways to manage some of these things that they might be dealing with from a mental health standpoint. So not just the physical person, but also, the internal aspect as well. So all of these, we provide free hearing aids. We provide free eyeglasses, sports goggles for the competitions should they need those. So this is, just really, really important to all of these. And I would say that, just be on the lookout for all of these efforts too in your local communities, because even if even if your athlete does not participate in our special mix programming, anybody with ID can come out and get screened at any of these screenings that we have. So that's so important too. It's not just for special mix athletes, but we want to support the entire ID community when and where we can. This is a really good infographic. I don't want to read it line by line, but it's kind of hard not to because of all the details that are in this. So if we have a team of 10 Special Olympics athletes and, basketball, soccer, we have several teams where you have 10 participants. So it's really easy for us to kind of wrap our heads around this. If you have a team of 10, 3 are going to have untreated tooth decay. So we need our special smiles screenings to happen so that they're getting those screenings. We know, again, right, that this population is really underserved. And whether it's the opportunity not being provided or they just don't have access to the opportunities that are provided, we know that they're generally not getting the services that they need. So we do everything that we can to bring these services to them. Of course, we can't bring, we can't help people get tooth extractions on site, but we can give referrals so that they can go, they feel a lot better about going to get those things. And we bring a dentist to them to get seen so they know exactly what's going on. So it is really, really important. Three are going to have low bone density. Four are going to need eyeglasses. Almost half of every single athlete that we see at our screenings needs some sort of eye prescription. Six have problems with flexibility. And of course, we know that means more risk of injury, more risk either at home, right, or in sports. Three will fail a hearing test. And again, this goes back to providing hearing aids or helping them, find when we do these screenings, we find a lot of inner ear issues, right, with the population. So it's really important that they get screened. And I don't know how many people are just going to an audiologist on their own. We know this population. We know that at times, they just say they have a headache when really it's an inner ear infection that's been persistent for, a long time. So it's so key that we're able to do these things. And then six are going to be overweight, which is, above the national average too. Compared to people without an intellectual disability, this population, they will die 13 years earlier, just on average. That's just the average. They're more at risk of an unhealthy weight, and they have less control over their nutrition, and they tend to have higher blood pressure too. I want to share this video. I want to we did test it, so you should be able to hear this. So just bear with us one moment.
We've taken him several times for hearing tests, and they've always said like there might be some kind of issue, but it wasn't anything that we could really fix. We always try to do the healthy athletes when we compete, and he did one of their screenings, and they found that he did have a hearing loss. He didn't pass the screening. Brandon couldn't hear C, P, T, F, S, T, H, so a very significant amount of sounds.
What we do is we try to identify athletes who may be in need of amplification, which is a common term for hearing aids. And we do other things like screening to make sure that their ear is healthy, that we don't have any ear infections. And then if an athlete needs it, we will take the wax out of their ears as well.
They fitted Brandon immediately and were able to get him the hearing aids. And now he is speaking more clearly and definitely speaking at a better volume and participating a lot more in our events with family and friends.
Ear health plays a big role in communication, and communication is the key to having good relationships with other people. If you can't hear what they're saying, you're not going to be a good communicator.
We've gone so many times to ask about a hearing deficit. And when he got fitted the first time, I said, Brandon, have you ever heard me sound this way? And he said, Mom, you have never sounded like this.
One thing that I do just want to share about our healthy athletes screening. So I've seen the impact personally. I've seen it change lives. We do when we have our eyes screenings, we do pressure tests inside behind their eyes, and we have sent many athletes to the hospital immediately just because of these screenings, because they have high pressure behind their eyes, which is creating opportunities for rupture in their retina, detachment, and is, potentially going to, it's a sign of a potential stroke when they have this pressure behind their eyes too. And almost every single competition that we have, we're sending one or two athletes straight to the hospital because of these issues. So I've seen it, potentially save lives, these programs that we offer at our competitions. Unified Champion Schools. So this is a really cool program that we have within our schools. And what it is we have people with and without disabilities playing on the same team. We also have unified sports outside of schools, but inside of schools, we have opportunities for students to play on the same team together, which creates opportunities for inclusion, and makes students who generally wouldn't see each other even on campus or interact with each other, gives them the opportunity to be teammates. Sometimes, the special needs players are or the players with ID, they might be the captain of the team. So now you have these other students relying on them in ways that they might not rely on them otherwise. So it's a really cool effort to get groups of people who otherwise wouldn't participate or interact with each other to start interacting with each other, and at a really impressionable age too, when inclusion, might have a bigger impact than it would maybe later in life. Um, These programs are offered pre-K all the way through college. So we have Unified Champion schools at the pre-K level, and we have it all the way through just about every college and university across the state of Florida, at least the opportunity for it. And then, of course, right, we're promoting social inclusion through sports. Sports is such an easy way to open communication lines and to have inclusion through different means. So, sports, again, is just such a great vehicle for all of these efforts. We have a partnership with the Florida High School Athletic Association. One of the really cool things about that is students can varsity letter through Special Olympics with the FHSAA. So they can actually, so one of those things that, in a lot of ways, they were excluded from because they weren't able to participate or wouldn't be included on a varsity sport. Now they have that opportunity to actually varsity letter in a sport through unified sports. So these are the 5 sports that we have. We have Unified Champion schools across 589 schools in the state of Florida and 11 colleges and universities. I've seen a few names on here where we are doing our MATP program, and I'll get to that in a moment, but I want to talk about these other programs too. So young athletes, our young athlete program, that's where we have ages 2 to 7. So they aren't quite ready for our competitive programming, which it starts at 8 years old. 2 to 7, they can they can join our young athletes program. And actually at 6 and 7, they can start training with our programming, community programming, but they can't compete quite yet. So 2 to 7, they're building dexterity, hand-eye coordination, and lots of other individual skills so that later we hope that they'll play sports with us. But even if they don't, they're at least developing those skills to have a really well-rounded life later on. Little elites, 8 to 11 years old, that's about when they start learning the skills pertaining to specific sports. So they're going to start learning how to dribble basketballs. They're going to start learning how to throw maybe a softball or a tennis ball. They're going to learn how to hit things like a baseball with a bat and further develop these things to play sports. Rising stars, that's when they start playing team sports and understanding the rules. Generally, grades 6 through 12 will start those programmings in the schools. So that's when they'll start to learn how to play on a team and learn all of those skills. And then our motor activities training program, that's a highly adaptive program where we can almost cater any sport to support the needs of the individual practicing that sport. For instance, I think I saw Lana on here, and over at the Arc of the Bay, we have we had a motor activities training program, and we started with cornhole. Cornhole is such an easy adaptive sport that we're able to provide. So one, for and the range is really important too, right? Because you deal with a lot of people across an entire spectrum of abilities at the Arc. So we have some athletes who can throw and play traditional cornhole at your facilities and in your programs. And then we also have some athletes that maybe have or are very limited with their capacity or ability to participate in sports. So maybe all they can do is, they can't throw the bag for cornhole 20 or 30 feet, but they can drop it into the hole or drop it onto the board. And then over time, we hope that we can, further expand that. But it is an incredible program and so multifaceted. So it supports such a range of programming there. Next, we are going to talk about our athlete leadership programming, and I'm going to turn it over to Laura Jones.
Good afternoon, guys. As a community engagement manager, I am overseeing the athlete leadership program. The athlete leadership program is really focused on helping athletes build confidence, communication skills, and leadership abilities that carry into everyday life, not just in their sports. We provide year-round, ongoing classes throughout the year that includes public speaking, leadership development, advocacy, and communication skills. These are opportunities where athletes can practice, grow, and gain confidence over time. I have one example, one of our athlete leaders, Ashley Harrell. She just finished her second year working an internship at the Capitol with the Speaker of the House, which is incredible. She, got to go to the Capitol once a week during session and have an incredible opportunity with a very high up person at the Capitol. So we're very, very proud of that. Um, and then another example that I really like to talk about is one of our athlete leaders, Josh. Josh started with Special Olympics, and his mom was very worried about him. He didn't really have any friends. He didn't really say more than one to two words at a time and just kind of felt pressured and didn't like going out. He now is the shining example of what Special Olympics is. He is constantly like going to interviews at TV stations and he loves being out and about. We just recently went to the Tallahassee Police Department to do a presentation and a really big moment for me since I did just recently start within the last year was just seeing, I always communicated with his mom and, hey, is Josh able to go to this event? One day she called me. She's like, so we just got Josh a phone. Would you mind, kind of communicating with him? We're teaching him how to like text and have communication skills and things like that. So it was just a very big moment that I personally witnessed of him making that step of being able to have that confidence to speak for himself. And so that really moved me. And that's really what the athlete leadership program is it's about building that confidence and the independence within these athletes.
Short and sweet for you all. We are open to questions.
Well, I will say, Laura, I actually know both of the participants you're talking about. That's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes. Josh, now, as you know, he loves being behind the camera and talking and going out and speaking about Special Olympics, which is great.
I met him at Chick-fil-A. I don't know if he still works here at Chick-fil-A, but he used to work at one of the Chick-fil-A's here in Tallahassee.
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he's working there right now, but
Yeah.
yes,
Awesome.
that's
Well,
great.
cool. Well, yeah, thank you all so much. That was a great presentation. I learned things about Special Olympics that I didn't know. Personally, I didn't know that you all did the health screens and things like that. I mean, that's amazing. And just working in the ARC for the past 3 years, I mean, not you cover teeth and all kinds of different things. So working at the ARC, I get the phone calls of all the parents that have all these health issues and dental is one of them. So like seeing that you all do those screenings and send them to the doctor or send them to the hospital, like that's huge. Like that is more than just sports. Like that's a huge impact and that is very needed Unfortunately, there's a lot of our adults with intellectual developmental disabilities that they get neglected when it comes to healthcare. So that's huge. That's awesome. But enough about me. That was just awesome. Really, really cool to learn that. So the first one is from, I want to say this correctly, Mr. I'll just say the last name, Mr. Weidman. I filled out a form for my daughter to be an athlete leader, but haven't heard anything back. We are in Bay County. So how do they follow up on that?
We can follow up on that. We got you.
Okay. The name was Olive Weidman. So we can Olive, we will send out. Oh yeah, Mrs. Weidman. I'm sorry. It's okay. But Mrs. Weidman, I will send out all the resources from this, and we'll make sure that we connect Damien's contact info with you. Awesome. Thank you all so much. So it sounds
That's
like Damien's going
perfect.
to take care of that for you. And then Blankenship has a question. It says, I am moving to Miami-Dade with my family this summer, and I have a 5-year-old with intellectual or developmental disability. How do we get involved in Special Olympics as a newcomer to the area in Miami-Dade?
Yeah, 5 years old, as I'm sure you heard, right? We don't have competitive programming quite yet for a 5-year-old, but we do have, and I know Miami-Dade, we have a ton of schools that we're involved with. So the first thing I would do is reach out to the school that your child is going to go to, and if they're going to go to a school, and ask them if they have a young athletes program at that school. So we have them in hundreds of schools across the entire state. We have over 20,000 participants in our young athletes program across the state. So it's likely that a school near you will be participating in it. Hopefully, the school that they're going to go to does have it. And if they don't, we can bring it to them. Sometimes they don't know right about our programming. So it takes maybe a parent or a staff member to just get in touch with them. But that's what I would say is at 5, they can participate in the Young Athletes program. Once they turn 6, they can start participating in our community-based program. They just can't compete quite yet. So at 6 and 7, they can start training with us. And then at 8, they can start competing with us.
Okay, thank you so much, Damien. And Mrs. Wyman also said that I guess swimming is coming to Bay County soon, and so they're excited to see that. Is that a new thing? I guess swimming wasn't there before.
Yeah, swimming is new to Bay County. We do have our competition there every year, but we haven't had our training program there. Oftentimes, we're kind of at the mercy of, coaches and who's available, and sometimes venues, of course, right? Venues maybe less so. It's do we have the coaches available? Do we have somebody in the community that's willing to support this effort? And I'll say swimming's a tough one because it's such a nuanced sport. You have to know all the strokes. You have to, if you don't know a breaststroke, you can't really coach somebody how to do a breaststroke. They're going to get DQ'd when they get to the competitions. So it is a very, it's not like maybe soccer where you have somebody who can roll in off the street and maybe, teach at a decent level that sport just because it's so accessible and easy to understand, whereas maybe something. So yes, swimming is new-ish to Bay County. And the good news for you is you won't have to travel far for our regional competition. It's right there
Awesome.
at Frank Brown Park.
Awesome. And Mrs. Wyman also said they're trying to work on becoming an assistant coach.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'll
Thank
make
you.
sure I'll have Laura and Damien's contact information, or Damien can get that to us. We'll make sure we send that out. We'll send out an email tomorrow, as always, with resources from this meeting and a link to this meeting as well. That will be on our YouTube page, so you all can go back and watch it again. But we still have plenty of time for questions if we have any more questions. But like I said, this is a very good informational meeting. It's okay that it was short and sweet. It's very relevant, and like I said, there's a lot of things you all do that I had no idea about. So it's a lot more than just sports. You all have a lot of great resources. And as Summer said, we're excited to keep supporting you all and keep working with you all. We're excited to be with you all for the summer games. And so, like I said earlier on before we started the meeting, we all, as the Arctic Florida, we look forward to our continued relationship with Special Olympics Florida.
I just wanted to say thank you. I enjoyed it very much. It was very informative.
Miss Elizabeth? She was thanking y'all, Damien. Thank you all so much. We
Yeah.
appreciate you, Miss Elizabeth. Absolutely.
Thank you. Do you have a family member that participates with us?
No, I don't. I'm newly director at the Art Big Bend.
Arc of the Big Bend. Okay. Is that the one that just opened in Mayo?
No, we're in Madison, Florida.
Madison.
That's
Okay.
the Arc of North Florida, Damien.
Oh,
Lillian.
sorry. Okay.
Lillian's. Yes.
I get confused with that whole area over there. It's a lot of, that's great. I love that you guys are expanding too. I know there's so many needed resources in that area. So just thank you all for being open and supporting all of those small communities. I know how hard it is to get resources over there.
Yes, sir. Well,
Well, while we have a
we
little
get,
bit of time,
yeah.
Dustin, I would love just because I'm heading your way for summer games. What does that look like? I mean, I feel it's going to be spectacular and maybe paint us a
Yes.
picture. Maybe some of us on the call haven't been, and again, that may be something. Again, it's the year of the Olympics, which is so much fun that this is happening, and have had some really good conversations with Megan that we're excited for you guys with this. But yeah, maybe help us. What does this look like? I mean, you guys are going to
Yeah.
own the ESPN Center, right?
Right, yeah. ESPN Wide World of Sports. It's all Special Olympics all the time during that weekend. So we will go down. It's next week already. It's crazy to think it's already next week, but it is next week. We're super excited for it. So we're going to get there. A lot of delegations, especially from the Panhandle and South Florida, they're going to get there Thursday because they can't drive up Friday morning for the competition. So they'll get to stay the night, Thursday night. They're all going to check into their hotels, experience some independence, right? In some incredible ways. We know that, again, part of what we do is we just provide opportunities, as many opportunities as possible in as many facets of life as we can. And so they're going to get to go down there. They're going to get to stay in their own hotel room, maybe without a chaperone, maybe with another athlete. So that's pretty cool. Then they're going to get up Friday, they're going to have breakfast, and they're going to head over to ESPN Wide World of Sports. They're going to look at their brackets. They're going to see all the things going on. They're going to walk around, and we take over every part of ESPN Wide World of Sports for the day. So it's so much fun. You get to see all the shirts with the different counties on it. You get to meet new friends. We have our Healthy Athletes program. We will have all 8 of our Healthy Athletes screenings there. So they get to go get checked out by every single kind of doctor that you can think of, from podiatrists to audiologists to optometrists. Maybe walk out, with a new prescription or new hearing aids, which would have to be mailed to you. We don't have them on site, but they will get to you after. But you get to go experience all of that. Get seen by some doctors. You can go watch some sports if you have time. If you aren't playing right in sports at that time, so you get to go. There's going to be cheerleading, which is always fun with the music going on. That's always a pretty popular one for people to just go watch. We're going to have soccer. We've got just so much going on, just a ton of energy. And then that night, we have our the final leg of our law enforcement torch run. We're going to have hundreds of cars piling in to our opening ceremonies, and their sirens are going to be on, and all the lights are on, and it's just so much fun to experience that. Then we're going to have an athlete dance. So we know how much, the dances mean to the population too. They love it. It's just an absolute blast. So that's just Friday, right? So I mean, sun up to sundown, and even past sundown, they're doing stuff, engaged, active. Saturday, you wake up and you've got half a day, or maybe a little over half a day of more sports, right? So a lot of competitions, a lot of awards are going to be given out, a lot of medals walking around, depending on the sport. You might have a couple clanging around your neck. You can hear them coming sometimes around the corners and stuff. It's so much fun. And then Saturday, again, the Panhandle and like Key West, they're going to stick around Saturday night again because of the distance. So they get 3 nights in the hotel at Disney's ESPN Wide World of Sports. And then they'll come back on Sunday. So it's a full weekend. It's an absolutely full packed weekend full of stuff.
That's awesome. Well, we're excited to be part of, I love how you called this Resource Row. I think it's
Yes.
new for you guys this year. I love that instead of an exhibit hall, resource row sounds much more appropriate and to the point. So I'm I'm so excited to be part of that for the Arc of Florida, that we get to be part of your resource row, and meet some of your athletes and families and share more. So thank you for that ability to do and be part of and help support you guys.
Yeah, well, it's truly a support because again, we have these athletes there and their families, and sometimes they just don't know about the resources. So it's so important. Thank you for coming and thank you for providing your resources to come and be a part of it. It's really a big deal. And we also have our Family Action Network, which is, semi-new to our programming. But that's where families can get more involved and have, maybe a little bit of a leadership role within our programming because we have so many families that, I don't really want to be a coach and I'm not, so much of um, a day of volunteer. I can't really get involved that way. But, what I do have is I've been around for a while and I want to support other families to get involved and I want to provide the knowledge and resources and be a conduit for all the programming and resources that maybe I have. So the Family Action Network is another way for families to get involved with us.
Well, thank you,
That
Damien,
will
Excellent.
for
be a
getting
part of our resource row as well, which is what made me think of that.
I'm jealous of summer next weekend. I'm jealous. It's gonna be great. That's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna have to try to go to my first one for sure sometime. We have a few more questions that came
Yeah.
through the chat while you were explaining that. So Rachel Payne asked, "How do athletes register for any upcoming sports or events?"
Yes, we should have registration links going out. So we athletes can register through our registration links. We have a dashboard that should have all of those as well. Rachel, I know we can get in touch with you if you're struggling with that. But yeah, through registration links generally is how they would get involved with our programming and to register. So it's a fairly easy process now. You no longer have to get a physical done. We just have a registration packet for athletes to get registered with us. And it does have, health history in it. You would just fill that out and send it to us, but you no longer have to get a physical done because we knew that was a barrier. And, thinking about us being an international organization, you think about other countries even, right? How hard it might be for them to get to a doctor. So that was something that came out in the last few years, where we no longer require that physical to be done.
Thank you so much, Damien. And then parents, I mean, I've seen pictures and videos, but of course, parents are allowed to stay on site with their kids for the games, right?
So this comes up a
Or
lot.
maybe not. I don't
So
know.
yeah, well, one of the things that we care a lot about is through these opportunities is supporting opportunities for independence as much as we can. And so we do have parent hotels where parents can go stay off-site. Now, we have the ratio that we have, right? We have chaperones. Think about just like school, right? Not every parent gets to go just because they want to go or want to be there or want to be, kind of that support. Special Olympics, state competitions, we look at this as an opportunity for this population to experience some of that independence. So is it possible? I'm not going to say it's not possible, but we also do have opportunities for parents to stay close so that they can experience the competition as well. But to stay in the hotel, that is a different conversation.
Yeah, I mean that's well said, that's understandable. So I appreciate you answering that. And then I saw this earlier, but just want to make sure. Mercedes asked, "Not sure if I missed some information. Are there any fees involved for the registration or trainings?"
Yeah, so again, one of the things that makes Special Olympics unique is that it is free to all participants. So there is no cost to participate in our programming. There's no cost to get to state games. We pay for 100% of the cost to get to state games, all the meals at the state competitions, meals at our regional competitions. But no, there is no fee or registration fee or anything like that to participate with any of our programming. That's for athletes, their families, volunteers, coaches. There is zero cost to participate.
Okay. Yep. Awesome. I thought I saw that, but I just wanted to make sure. I don't see any more questions. We have a few more minutes. But again, I appreciate you all. This was a very informative, great meeting. We had a lot of people in the chat thanking you all for the presentation. So we really appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us.
Absolutely. I don't think we have any more questions, just some more thank yous in the chat. We will send this out tomorrow morning. We'll send out resources and information from this meeting in an email. We appreciate you all for taking this lunch hour to join us. We give you a little bit, we give you 15 minutes back, so not too bad. But Damien and Laura, y'all were great. We appreciate you all and look forward to working with y'all again in the future.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all. Have a great day.